You are listening to Ears on the Northeast Valley, a Pacoima Beautiful podcast. Hey everyone, lend us your ears and get updates on local news, community events, campaigns, and more taking place right here at home in the San Fernando Valley.
So the breaking news that we're hearing that we found out yesterday is that the Valley Generating Station, which is located here in the Northeast Valley in the Sun Valley community, is leaking methane at a pretty good level. So apparently JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab that works with NASA, had a project to study emissions in the nearby area via drones, and they reported to LADWP that they found strong levels of methane emissions from the Valley Generating Station. Um, the levels that were reported were 10,000 cubic feet of emissions per hour, which is pretty heavy. And so as a result, uh, there's a question of how long that's been going on, why hasn't it been mitigated, and why are we barely hearing about it now? So Marty Adams, who's the general manager of LADWP, reported this to the DWP board and let us know that DWP was aware of the leak due to a study that they had done earlier in the year, and that their 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 idea for fixing, so it's a combustion machinery that's faulty inside the gas plant as what's causing the leak, and that they ordered the piece but it won't come until October, and in order to do the fix, they got to shut down the facility. They're hesitant to do that, especially right now with summer and the amount of energy being used due to COVID and the high summer heat, which to us is a very unacceptable answer, right? Because in essence, our community, the whole Northeast Valley, has to suffer the consequence of these emissions because you know the reliability of the grid, right? And we find that completely unacceptable. We feel that that plant should have been shut down already. It should shut down now. They still fix. They need to do whatever they got to do to get that methane leak fixed as soon as possible. I mean, not waiting till October is just not good enough. There's several reasons why this is important, right? One, our community, Sun Valley, the Northeast Valley as a whole, is a top 5% Cal Viral Screen most polluted community, right? We deal already with the toxic facilities from the White Man Airport, from the freeways, from the landfills, and from the gas plant. On top of that, the impact of COVID has really hit strongly here in the Northeast Valley, right? These communities are some with the highest numbers of cases of COVID that have happened across the whole city. A lot of people at risk, a lot of people with respiratory issues. On top of that, now there's also the added issue of a methane leak at a really high level. Not only has health impacts, but also has combustion impacts. I mean, methane gas is combustible, and we're in the middle of fire season. Imagine the catastrophe that could happen if a wildfire gets close to the gas plant facility. I don't even want to think about it, right? How many families can be hurt? How many families can be impacted? And so that's why this is an urgent matter, right? We're still in the middle of a pandemic. There's still a lot of people who are at risk to be impacted with their health, right? And for me, it just feels like this is just another instance of devaluing the lives of communities of color. While in other communities that's manifesting through, shootings by policemen, over here it feels like it's the slow burn, right? The slow kill. There's a gas leak, but it's not a priority because it's just black and brown people. It's especially telling for us because not that long ago, a similar issue happened in an affluent community in the Liso Canyon, Porter Ranch. A gas leak was discovered there. And when that gas leak was discovered, whole families were moved away from that community. That community ended up getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the state as a settlement for the inconvenience and everything that happened. And when it happens here in our community, we're not even told about it. So it's just, to me, it's just a symptom of environmental racism, to be quite frank, right? And I think it's the reason why we need to take action now, why we're fired up about this, why we're not going to take this sitting down no matter what. You've been running a campaign to discuss the future of the Valley Gas Plant for over a year now. It kind of culminated last year in December with a conversation with General Manager Marty Adams and the rest of DWP, in which they told us, right, the plan is to wean the facility away from gas, introduce clean energy generation, get rid of the smokestacks and all that stuff, right? Never did they mention the fact that there might be a methane leak or anything of that nature. It feels like a slap in the face, right? Because like we were talking to you about it, and you didn't fess up about this, right? Let us know that this is something that's happening, that's something that you're looking to take care of. You just rather act like it's not existent, and that's problematic. The lack of transparency, the lack of honesty, the lack of accountability is something that we find very problematic, and that's part of our demands. We need to see better from our utility, because at the end of the day, it is a publicly owned utility. It is not a private company. It's owned by the public. And us as ratepayers have a right to know what it is that our company is doing, especially if it's having negative impacts on our community. Pacoima Beautiful is a part of the LA Clean Energy Coalition, and one of the campaigns we've been running is getting the city to move to 100% renewable energy. Natural gas burns a fossil fuel, right? The emissions of it has a negative impact on the health of people who live around it. And so as a result, we pushed for the city to shut down the once through cooling facilities. Originally there was 4 gas plants that the city of LA would use, or DWP would use to enhance the grid. 3 of them were found close to the ocean. One in Mar Vista, one in Wilmington, and the other in San Pedro. I'm sorry, one in Wilmington and one in Long Beach. Those 3 facilities were up for renewal, and through our organizing efforts, the city decided to actually not renew the gas systems and look to change them into clean energy. Now the Valley Gas Plant is the last gas plant that's left. It's the oldest of the 4, the less efficient of the 4. But the resistance by DWP to shift it completely to clean energy has been the question of reliability of the electric grid in Los Angeles, especially during emergencies, right? Like wildfires, like a pandemic now, right? And there's extra usage on the grid. However, we're still very adamant that the goal of the city is to get to 100% by 2040, and an action plan needs to be created for shutting down that facility. And the LADWP seemed in December like that's the route they wanted to go, right? We gave them the benefit of the doubt, and we were working with them, but like here we are now. There's a major leak coming from that facility. We warned them that facility had a potential for something like this, and they hadn't done nothing about it. And I think that goes to show more of a need of why this facility is a problem, right? Why are you going to invest the money you need to invest to fix it when it's a dying industry? You should look to shut it down completely and replace it with an industry that's going to last and be more sustainable and have more benefits and not create emissions for our community. So, as Pacoima Beautiful and LA Clean Energy Coalition, we are organizing to move DWP to take action on fixing the leak. We have opened a change.org petition online, so if folks want to support that way, you could definitely sign the petition. If you want more information, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Pacoima Beautiful, or you could look for more information on lacec.org. My name's Andres Ramirez. I'm Policy Director for Pacoima Beautiful.